In recent years, Atlus has made several attempts to bring their old franchises to the forefront for their new fans. Some of them were pretty well received, and others were certainly an effort, to say the least. Devil Summoner Raidou Kuzunoha vs. the Soulless Army, or as it's now titled, Raidou Remastered Mystery of the Soulless Army, is another one of these, bringing better visuals, enhanced gameplay, and new voiceover work to the original game. Raidou is a real-time action game. Yep, not a turn-based game like a majority of Atlus's titles. The way this works is that you control Raidou, while your demons are piloted mostly automatically. You can issue them commands to use certain attacks on specific enemies, or just let them do what they want. For the most part, they seem to perform as optimally as they can. During my time with the game, I never really had to worry about what my demons were doing, or not doing, for that matter. Raidou wields a sword, which you can use to do light attacks or heavy attacks. Light attacks deal a lot less damage, but allow you to restore MP on hit, while heavy attacks do a lot of damage but don't restore MP at all. Choosing which to use is really dependent on your situation. As an example, I mostly ran demons that could heal me while I focused into strength, so Raidou was the main one doing a lot of damage. The problem is with that is that I had to use a lot of light attacks since I'm relying on my demons to do a lot of the sustaining for myself. For the most part, the battle system is pretty satisfying. There aren't a ton of complex mechanics that you need to get a hang of, and the game quickly feeds you a majority of the important systems that you need to know about. But there's sometimes an interesting level of hit stun that this game has for the kind of action game that it is. I don't really know how to describe it, but it doesn't feel like the kind of action game where I would be taking a good amount of hit stun, and the game doesn't really allow for that many animation cancels in some situations, meaning that you'll have to commit to actions that may sometimes lead to your demise. But that's part of learning the game. I didn't love the feeling, especially given how hard it is to see some of the attacks coming, but it is what it is. When you're playing an action game, enemies typically have tells for when they're going to attack. And you know what? In this game, they do too. That said, the easiest way to dodge most of the moves is to dodge towards them, because Raidou will automatically sling himself behind them. But some attacks are just less clear than others, and have longer lasting hitboxes that you'll need to be aware of. For the most part, the game isn't that hard if you play smart. I didn't even really need to upgrade Vitality that much, so you can get by without it. In my personal opinion, Atlus doesn't always hit with the narratives. Both SMT5 and Soul Hackers 2 are games that felt pretty lackluster in this category. While Raidou isn't a new game and the story is also not new, it does have a lot more cohesion and winds up being a more intriguing story. It's really about the mystery. I mean, if you went into this game expecting it to be something not about the mystery of the Soulless Army, that's on you, because it's in the title. To that end, there is some development for your main cast, but it's not a lot. And in this case, I think that's okay. I didn't go into this game expecting an amazing narrative with a good amount of character development. I went into it expecting something decent. And it's not like the narrative is bad. This is an older title, so the focus on story may not have been as pushed to the forefront. And I can't sit here and pretend that it's not difficult to be the follow-up game for the last major RPG that I played. So I'm not expecting it to compete in that category. In the end, I'll say that the ending has left me more interested in Raidou 2, and perhaps if I buy 20 copies of that, we could get Raidou 3. I'm not going to say that I loved every bit of the main story here, but I would like to see what could be done with a modern iteration of this series, because there's a good chance if they remaster Raidou 2, it'll be very similar to this. Granted, I've never played it. And outside of combat, there's a decent chunk of things to do. You can do some side quests, read the minds of NPCs, banish Avil Rifts, or Arvel Rifts, I don't remember. There's a lot to do here, and I think it's worth looking into. The only issue I had was that I couldn't freely move the camera around in the Overworld, or on the Overworld map. And it feels like a bit of a design flaw given how sometimes the game doesn't actively give you the objective, or you have to find your route into where the objective is. And the easiest way to do that is to just memorize what the map looks like. And speaking of giving you the objective, Goto, your talking cat, really loves to just tell you exactly what to do after you fail once. For someone who doesn't really care all that much about puzzle solving because I'm not good at it, it's not that big of a deal for me, but I wholly understand if people are frustrated by the fact that this damn cat just won't let you solve this thing yourself. Because you'll do something and he'll be like, oh, well, maybe if you, perhaps there's someone nearby who you need to read the mind of. This statue might need to be moved. Perhaps we could use some force. You're really subtle, you know? You might as well just tell me, use a force, use a fury demon, and push the statue. If you're gonna be that upfront, then just say it. But I think the puzzle solving is at least somewhat entertaining, but in some ways it's also held back by the lack of ease of access to the skills you need. Now, that doesn't really sound right, but from my own experience, the game doesn't have a way to quickly tell you what skills you have and don't have. So if I need Ignite, and I don't have it, I have to go back to the Gomaden, summon Ukobak, or whoever has Ignite, and go back to where I need Ignite, and then use it. And if you're good at managing your skills list without having it in front of you, that's great. But for me, I just kind of wish there was like a checklist I could fill out or something. Just something to make it a little easier than scrolling through my demons and making sure they all have this skill. It won't happen to you that often, given the fact that you can carry a lot of demons in this game, but when it does happen, it's a little annoying. In some ways, it's like HMs from older Pokemon games, except if you couldn't teach them to your Pokemon on the spot, and you had to go back to the Pokemon Center to teach them. Which does not sound fun. It is certainly a part of the game, and I won't fault it too much, but it did put a damper on my own experience, since I'm not good at micromanaging that stuff, so it just became kind of exhausting to deal with, and at some point I just stopped trying to do all the side missions because of that. But my gripes aside, Raidou is still engaging outside of combat. I wasn't blown away with it, but I wasn't bothered with it that much either. In some ways, this game is more of a remake than a remaster. I've looked at some old gameplay, and it's like not a whole different game, but there are certainly some changes they have implemented that make it a lot more fun to play. It's really incredible how much time and effort seems to have gone into this remaster. And it did take a little while to hook me, but I was pleasantly surprised by the game by the end. And it's left me more interested in where the story goes in Raidou 2. It doesn't hit the same peaks that Persona and Metaphor did for me, but out of all the ATLUS IPs I've played, it's pretty satisfactory. It doesn't do a ton of character development. In fact, I don't think the characters really change that much. The focus is more on the story and the mystery itself. I think it's well worth your time if you're willing to put up with a few rougher edges. It's not nearly as long as SMT or Persona, so it's a good game to pick up. You know, $50 is not that bad for a 30-hour game. And you can let me know what you think of Raidou Remastered in the comments down below. As always, you can leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and subscribe to the channel for more things from Persona, ATLUS, Shin Megami Tensei, JRPGs. We do all that stuff here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.
ここからは瞬き禁止です。勝利投手は私とか